Welcome to the Planet MicroCap Showcase. I'd like to introduce our next presenter here. It is Joe Delgado, co-founder and executive vice president of sales and marketing at Moving Image Technologies. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is MITQ on the NYSE American. And with that, Joe, take it away.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you all. We appreciate your interest in Moving Image Technologies. I will take a little of your time and run you through our presentation, and hopefully it'll generate some interest or comments, and feel free to reach out to myself or Brian Siegel at Hayden IR with any follow-up you may have. So here we go. Our safe harbor statement that you all can read at your pleasure. This is us at a glance. We were founded in 2003. We're in Southern California. Our list of executives has a tremendous amount of cinema technology experience. Our chairman and CEO, Phil Rafson, was one of our original investors when we started the company back in 2003. We are a leading integrator of technology for the commercial cinema industry. We do custom fabrication installations, as well as third-party equipment for resale. And again, we specialize in the commercial cinema market. As you'll see, some of our customer base will be familiar to you. We've got a very big install base. Our footprint primarily is located in North America, but we plan, as I will speak to later, an international expansion. Our products are proprietary. They are designed, engineered, and manufactured here in the US. They consist of well over 45 products. However, when you extrapolate those to derivatives, the list goes out to about 150, close to 200 products. About 70% of our revenue is derived from not just the big players, but the small to medium-sized circuits, so small to medium-sized cinema owners that tend to be the growth engine in our space. This will give you an idea of just a very few handful of our customers, but depending on where you are in the country, they're probably recognizable to you, as well as servicing the overall creative community and the studio space. These are cinema industry executives like big-time directors, producers, studio heads, or industry VIPs, right? And with those, we maintain a management and service contract with a handful of them, as you can see, about 10 or so. This is a reason to get excited about Moving Image Technologies. The industry at large, we feel, is bouncing back, not just bouncing back, but coming back with tremendous reacceptance, as I like to say. Box office trends are going through the roof. Now that we have reached some semblance of normalization, if you're following the North American and international box office trends for the last couple of months, they have been incredibly well received, as well as what happened during COVID, and we will touch on that just a little bit. But the federal government issued grants, what they called SVOG, or Shuttered Venue Operations Grants, that applied to the commercial cinema industry. Approximately $2.5 billion have already been awarded, and there is a little bit more to come. So that is a tremendous amount of capital that has flown into our industry, aside from the positive box office trends. Our position in general has allowed us to get to that 3 to 5 year aggressive growth roadmap. And again, we'll talk a little bit about that going forward. Our proprietary offerings are enhanced and complemented by our partnerships and distribution of third-party technologies that fill whatever gaps we may have on our non-proprietary products. Our margins and CNF generation is something that we're adhering to and looking forward to expanding on both of those, both organic and inorganic growth opportunities in some of the technologies that we'll speak to here a little bit later in the presentation. And we feel that our international expansion, while we were thinking that it could be out as far as 3 or 4Q of next year, we feel now with the box office and our tailwinds, we feel that roadmap to the international expansion may be abbreviated. So we're really excited about that. Well underway. In fact, some of these numbers have now become a little bit stale. The new numbers just this past weekend, we're setting records with Doctor Strange and the Batman movies that are not mentioned here. But we feel that the domestic box office as well as the international box office is absolutely well on its way to a full recovery. The market at large and the opportunities, about 40,000 commercial cinema screens in North America. Of those, 18,000 approximately are outside the top 5 major circuits, the AMCs, the Cinemarks, the Regals of the world. Again, that's kind of where the real growth engine in the market is, with those small, medium-sized, now very well capitalized exhibitors, right? That domestic box office in 2019, we feel is now benchmarked pretty conservatively. We feel that this is going to be a tremendous summer, as we've already evidenced. We've already seen that. And with anticipation of even more box office towards the end of the calendar year, with some great product coming out from the studios. All this is very exciting and tremendous tailwinds. This just highlights the Shuttered Venue Operations Grant that is being currently distributed. This impacts us as a technology company, because of those monies, a very healthy percentage is going to be spent on technology and renovation and upgrades. So this is money that must be spent within a year of receipt, or else it turns into a loan. If it is spent, it is a grant and it is forgiven. This is a capital that has been infused into the industry, and it's unprecedented. So this is something that we plan to capture as much of as possible. If you look down at the asterisk with respect to our caddy line, we'll speak to that as well a little bit later in the presentation. Along with the things that I'd mentioned before, you have attrition or replacement cycles. When we started the conversion from 35mm film to digital projection back in 2009 through about 2012, that's been a 10-11 year life cycle for a lot of these digital systems that are now reaching their end of life. So we started prior to the COVID shutdown already seeing that attrition take place. That is now resumed, and with the help of the SVOG funds, it's accelerating. And again, we anticipate capturing as much of that as possible. New theater construction is actually back. That is one of our big revenue drivers, and has traditionally been one of our big revenue drivers. New theater construction is what we call in the construction parlance FF&E, furniture, fixture, and equipment. That's where guys like us, Moving Image Technologies, come in, and then we supply the technology components and the amenities components of the commercial cinema. So the screens, the projectors, the servers, the audio, right, which consists of the speakers, the amplifiers, the network, or the IP and network technology infrastructure or architecture. We supply everything basically except the food and beverage components of the cinema. We expect to drive both revenue and margin expansion with a shift from, as stated in that last slide, traditionally we have been project driven. But what we have started since before COVID is to move into our clients' day-to-day operations. So if there's 40,000 plus screens available, that's everyday activity that our new products and services are now targeted to. And they plan to be both disruptive and SaaS based, where the reoccurring revenue will add to that both the revenue growth and margin expansion. And when we talked about a little bit about Caddy, while Caddy is a product that many of you may not know by name, many of you that have gone to an arena or a stadium are probably very familiar with the Caddy product. It is that ubiquitous cup holder that you place your beverage. That is about 80% market share. And within the arena and the stadium business, Caddy is the Kleenex, Xerox, Q-tip of that space. The way we view Caddy, however, going forward is as a touch point. And when you have an arena or a stadium, there is no better touch point than that Caddy product, right? And what we're looking to do with that is expand that digitally with some of our proprietary digital offerings. More on that will come as that development matures, but we are extremely excited about that. Also, expanding on the day-to-day operations of our commercial cinema partners, we are investing in esports and e-gaming in partnership with a company called Sandbox out of Vero Beach, Florida. So what we are doing for the first time in commercial cinema is having a complete deliverable to our exhibition partners. They will now be able to what we call four-wall. In other words, we'll deliver the entire component of esports. That includes obviously the technology, which we are the sole and exclusive integrator for Sandbox. And Sandbox takes over at that time and delivers those disparate components of gaming and esports, which are the leagues, the influencers, the producers, the studios or publishers. So all these disparate components will now be able to get delivered to the cinema exhibitor as one value proposition. Our international expansion strategy, while we felt that it was going to be out further after CinemaCon 2022, the last week of April, both the reception and some of the strategic meetings that occurred there, we feel that that ramp is now shortened, and we feel that we'll be able to target primarily Europe and the Middle East sooner than maybe we had anticipated. So again, that is a byproduct of the enthusiasm and the recovery of the cinema industry as a whole. Excuse me. And of course, our accretive M&A strategy, we are actively and aggressively pursuing strategic acquisitions, of which we've already made one with the acquisition of the USL accessibility product that is hearing impaired, visually impaired, that complements very well, hand in glove, with some of our SaaS product and our MIT translator. And I'll speak to that a little bit also further in the presentation. But our accretive and M&A strategy continues on plan. this is what I was speaking to with respect to the accessibility strategy. There's approximately 70 million non-English proficient speakers in the United States. Now, with English not being their first language, it is a barrier to entry to the commercial cinema. So a lot of our neighbors and friends that don't have English as a first language don't necessarily have the opportunity to enjoy the movies like the rest of us do. However, with MI Translator, we take down those barriers. So in short, and I'll give you a brief synopsis, this platform allows any movie that's released by the studio, as long as that studio releases in multi-language, which they all do. They release anywhere from 30 to 60 up to as many as 80 different languages because of the international box office. We are now able to capture all those languages, and now anybody that speaks language can sit in the auditorium with anybody else. And it is driven by augmented reality glasses. So the AR glasses are unobtrusive, and it's a way where anybody could sit next to somebody speaking Spanish, somebody speaking French, somebody speaking Mandarin, and they could be literally sitting next to each other, each wearing their AR glasses and watching as they view the movie, the subtitles in their language being projected onto the AR glasses in a very crisp and unobtrusive way. You can also do dubbing with headphones. So it ticks all the boxes, and it really allows now our exhibitor partners to reach out to that very big demographic that was otherwise obstructed by that language barrier. So we're extremely excited to move forward with that initiative. That USL product line that I mentioned before, that fits into the lower price point end of that spectrum, accessibility. And that is, by the way, required by the Americans with Disabilities Act. So that product line must be purchased by every single facility or cinema in the country. That is mandated. So if you take those two products, the accessibility product from USL and the MI Translator, you have a complete complement, and you have now enabled our customers, our cinema partners in retail cinema, to take down those barriers and obstacles so everybody can enjoy the movies. City QC or Control QC, if it's out of cinema, is our SaaS-based hardware and software service. This is a quality assurance and operations management platform. What COVID showed everybody was that both on our side, the manufacturing and technology side, and then our cinema partners operations side, was that they had to get aggressive with efficiencies. This is the only platform that reinforces whatever quality assurance policies or operation management policies that you may have. This is the only platform that verifies and audits in real time that those processes and policies are being adhered to. The hook with this, which is unique to whatever else is out there, is what's called NFC technology or near field communication devices. And these are planted within the facility, within the building, within an auditorium, within a bathroom, within a hallway, within a bar or restaurant. And each individual geographic location is coded with an NFC tag, so that you have to be in that space in order to make sure that those checklists are now complied with. This is something that we're looking forward to introducing into the stadium and arena market as well. Our Caddy products, again, we feel that that will be the significant touch point as stadiums and arenas become smart, and that's what they're evolving to, smart sport tech. The stadiums and arenas managers and facility owners want to interact with the fan base. We feel with Caddy products as that touch point, and as we move forward to digitizing that, that will be a tremendous jumping off point for that space, and that will carry to a worldwide market. Esports, we talked about. We also do special venue academia, film schools, museums, and of course, the overall entertainment infrastructure, the creatives, the studios, the post-production houses, all heavily involved and all looking towards growth in their particular spaces. Just to get a little bit more specific with Caddy, as it stands today, we have approximately 80% market share in most of the major leagues. In fact, all of the major leagues, Major League Baseball, NFL, NHL, NBA. Our margins are substantial because we do own all the manufacturing molds and patents. So taking that and going forward from a technology standpoint is very organic. This is a snapshot of what we're doing with our partner Sandbox. If you look at the bottom right-hand slide, that was part of the trade show booth that we had at CinemaCon in April of 2022. If you see the carriers, technology, all the displays, that is the infrastructure, the technology infrastructure that's required to have esports and e-gaming in your commercial cinemas. These are all custom made, and that partnership is a two-way exclusive. Sandbox is the business sales integration, and we are the technology providers for a complete deliverable to the cinema exhibition industry. The reception at CinemaCon was out of this world. We had anticipated, let's say, healthy curiosity, but it was received way, way better than even we would have anticipated. So we look forward to some very, very cool things going forward with our esports strategy. We feel that after CinemaCon 2022, that European roadmap expansion may have been abbreviated. So we're confident that we can start to penetrate with our existing products and services that we just talked about, CineQC, Sandbox, MI Translator, into the European and Middle Eastern markets sooner than maybe we've anticipated. Asia and South America are still not quite normalized just yet. So we're keeping a healthy eye on Asia and the South American cinema markets. As mentioned before, our M&A strategy consists of consolidation, portfolio expansion, and leveraging our customer relationships. We anticipate the acquisitions to continue going forward. Obviously, one of the major drivers for us going to the equities markets. And we look forward to some very cool things. This is the team. As I mentioned before, Bill Rafson was one of our original investors in the company. I myself was the original founder and got pretty much this group of co-founders along with me. Bevan Wright, who was head of engineering at Christie Digital Systems, along with myself. And Michael Sherman, our CFO, has well over 25 years of corporate accounting, finance, and M&A experience. So our team is a solid, experienced veteran group that is both passionate and thriving on executing our plans going forward. The financial information we can get Mike Sherman, should you have any questions going forward, or Brian Siegel could elaborate more on that. But these are some of the highlights. And I thank you all for joining me.